What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Tuesday night here on the interwebs. My name, of course, is Seth. We've already got Harry Austin over in the chat. Harry, glad to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. You need an intro picture for your show. You know, if we can ever get to a point where the three of us are all in one place together again, we might just do that. But until
or if we get a logo.
Yeah, if we get a logo.
Harry, do you know anybody that does logos for free? That'd be much appreciated if you knew somebody or if you did. Just let us know.
Someone does a little bit of graphic design on the side. You know, well, if it's good, we might toss them a couple bucks, especially if they can get like a social media package together for us. That'd be awesome. But
I'll buy you a beer.
There you go. That's at least a $2 value right there.
What the hell are you drinking?
PBR, man. Not even.
I keep looking at this.
That's wrong
because it's the schedule, and I'm like, because I was like trying to figure out if Harry was going to come to Albuquerque at all for any of the games, and I was like, when do they play? And I was looking, and I was like, oh wait, I don't have a new one yet.
Yeah, Harry had DM'd me a while back and asked me about hotels near the stadium. So hopefully Harry's coming up. I was actually looking at flights to San Antonio.
Dude, that's not a bad idea.
He absolutely could stay here if you wanted. I do have my kids that weekend, but you're welcome to stay. So
timeout. Earl's biggest fan is in the oh no, it's Animal Trust. Never mind.
Oh, he doesn't care about you. He doesn't care.
This guy don't like me. He don't care about me.
There you go. Harry is planning on coming up. Awesome. Can't wait to see you, man. Hopefully we'll get to hang out and spend some time together there around the game, and hopefully get to check out the tailgates. Those are pretty good. So I actually looked into flights down to San Antonio for that match. I got a Google alert this morning saying that flights were $244 round trip. So I might just do that.
That's not a bad price.
No, it's not. Sure as heck beats driving 11 hours.
What's the airline though?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't look to see what the airline was. It was just whatever the cheapest. It pops up with their cheapest flight is.
So Seth, I have a question for you before you carry on. How terrible is the drive to Georgia?
You know, it's really not bad. It's right around 21 hours. If you just drive straight here or there. When I moved out, I drove from Birmingham to here, which is right around 19, 20 hours. Mm-hmm. So that's really not bad. The guy that I was friends with at the time, we took turns driving out. And so, we just drove straight. It was like 18, 19 hours from Birmingham. So it's about 21 hours to Atlanta. But it's basically just a straight shot. Like if you can get on I-40 and just jam it out east, like it doesn't take long at all. And then like once you get over to like, I think it's like Memphis or something, you have to change interstates, but it's not bad. Yeah, you could do I-10 too. That would, I think that might have been what we did, was drove out on I-10 pretty much the entire way. So, but it's not a bad drive. It's just there's just nothing there.
The reason why I'm asking is because me and my wife are going on a cross-country road trip in June.
Nice. For
her cousin's wedding in Atlanta. So that should be a fun road trip.
Yeah. Well, you guys looking at any place are you staying in Atlanta, or are you like just doing
we're gonna stay in Atlanta.
Okay.
I think. I hope, because 21 hours just to go to the wedding and turn right back around, I'd be pissed.
It's a bit of a drive. I mean, it'll definitely save you some money compared to flying, but I mean, I'm gonna see, depending on where you stay at, like, I can probably recommend you some places like to try to eat and stuff, especially if you're staying downtown. There's some fantastic restaurants downtown.
I disagree with the saving money part, because time is money, and
I have also a whole week anyways, so I'm getting paid to drive out there anyways. No, it's not it's not current, Harry.
No, we need.
But so I'm off that whole week. So I'm off the 17th through the 25th or 26th or something like that.
Very cool. Yeah, it's like I said, it's not a bad trip. It's really not driving out. I mean, I would definitely, since you don't have kids and whatnot, take the time, drive, take a few stops, stay some places along the way if you want. But yeah, if you had kids, I'd say definitely fly. But yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty much, like I said, it's pretty much a straight shot. Get on the interstate and just fly out. So it's not bad at all. But yeah, I don't know. All right,
The only problem is I hate I-40. I don't know if it's bad outside of New Mexico, but I-40 in New Mexico is the absolute worst.
It's pretty bad in Oklahoma City.
I think it's bad everywhere. So I hate it. I do not like I-40 whatsoever.
Yeah, I-40 in Oklahoma City is pretty god awful. Anyways, Seth, carry on.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine. Yeah, depending on where you're staying, I'll give you some restaurant recommendations and stuff like that. But yeah, so Google Maps has it as 20 hours.
My wife can make it in 17. I don't want to know how.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can take 40 out to Amarillo, then get on I-20, basically. I think that's where I-20 starts. Or you get on 287 out of Amarillo down to Dallas and then take I-20 east. But yeah, either way, it's not bad. Like it's really not. But anyway, all right, let's get on into our show, guys. We got some folks in the chat. Appreciate you all being here. It is Tuesday night. We appreciate you guys being here, of course. As always, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. If you're in the chat, hop on over there, throw up your questions, comments, and we'll get to those throughout the show. No guests tonight, just the three of us, and it's going to be a great show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM, and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United, the New Mexico Runners, and soon an Untitled project. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. Thank you guys so much for joining us. As you see with me here on the show tonight, we have Jacob Terrell and Earl Nieto. Guys, another great weekend of NFL football, and so we're going to have another themed question here. I have one burning question for you gentlemen this evening. What are you more excited for, the Super Bowl itself or the halftime show?
That may be your best question yet. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
because it's a tough one. It is. Were you gonna say neither?
Neither. But listen, did you know Walmart has a lower acceptance rate than Harvard?
I find that hard to believe.
No, I believe it because Walmart probably has millions of more applications than Harvard does. So it's a percentage thing. That's why I think it's tougher.
So in reality though, I am looking forward to the game, I think, because it's not Tom Brady. Rest in peace. It's not Pat Mahomes or Pat Machoke. I mean, my bad.
Hold on. No, I will not let you slander Patrick Mahomes. Not because he didn't choke, because he did. But you specifically, Earl, cannot, because you are the same person that a year ago said that in 2 years it was going to be Baker Mayfield's NFL. And I'm sorry, but that was completely wrong.
All right, so I was wrong on that.
Yeah,
I was wrong on that. Okay. I will admit that.
Good.
But I was not wrong that it would not be Pat Mahomes' NFL.
No, I think he's still the one that we talk about. No.
From now on, we need to talk about Joe Burrow.
Is Joe Burrow really the face of the NFL for you?
Joey B.
Sorry. No, it's Joe Burr. Like
Joe Burr.
Yeah, Burr.
I just don't see it. He doesn't. He's not the charismatic.
Yeah, I don't see Pat Mahomes as the face though.
Pat Mahomes isn't charismatic either. He's just on commercials.
So? He's just on commercials. He's a typical sneakerhead.
Burrow is going to take Mayfield's place in commercials next year, and at this time next year we'll be talking about how Burrow is charismatic, and Have you not heard any of his press conferences? They're actually hilarious.
Yeah,
I just love the kicker on the Bengals,
McPherson,
who's called his shot 3 times in a row.
He's 12 for 12 in the playoffs.
He literally walked on the field in overtime and said, "Hey, looks like we're going to the Super Bowl."
Yeah.
And won the game.
Harry's got a point here. AFC is loaded with the young QBs. They absolutely are. Yeah, you look at the quarterbacks over in the NFC, they are aging. Even Matt Stafford, he's about 5 years younger than I am. I mean, he's 32, I think.
So to clarify, I don't see Joey Burrow as the face of, or Joey B, or Joe Burr, whatever the hell whatever you want to call him. Joe Burr. I don't see him as the face of the NFL. It was Tom Brady. I'll give you that. It was cheating Tom, lying Tom, whatever the hell. And I'm gonna call him lying Tom because just 2 freaking days ago he denied retiring.
No, he said he was still going through the process.
And then today, hey, by the way, I'm not feeling it. I have a cold today, so I'm not gonna fucking play football anymore.
All it was he was mad at Schefter, and who was the other one? Whoever else reported it, he was mad at them because they stole his thunder. That's all it was.
So as soon as Tom Brady stepped aside, the new face of the NFL became Aaron Rodgers.
Oh God, I hope not.
Because when it comes down to talking about Joey
It's
Burrow,
Mahomes, dude. I'm sorry, but it is.
Exactly.
Fair,
he is the face of the NFL for all the wrong reasons.
Good call.
He did lie to us twice about having a shot.
I can't say it.
Inoculated.
Yeah, there you go. He got his inoculation.
Anyways.
So
the question at hand is not who the face of the NFL is. The question at hand is, are you more excited for the Super Bowl or the halftime show? And I'm excited for the Super Bowl, but this halftime show, like, it has everybody that I like. Actually, like, it has people I care about and like want to listen to, and it has a chance to be special. Like, I believe Austin said right there. Oh, okay.
Lost it.
There we go. And he's not wrong, but it also, if they neuter them like they tend to in the past, it could be very bad.
So
the NFL and Fox are not going to allow an uncensored version of this halftime show. There's no way.
Well, it's on NBC, but your point stands.
But CBS will allow whatever the hell his name is, sings fancy like to interrupt the halftime breakdown.
What the hell are you talking about?
You didn't watch it on CBS, did you?
No, who watches CBS halftime show? It's terrible.
Well, the Chiefs had a freaking concert going on, and it was something. Hold on. Let me tell you.
Did you see Diggs knock out the not streaker, but the clothes streaker last week? That was funny.
I actually saw a TikTok video of the guy. Apparently, it was the guy. Like, his buddy dared him to do it.
Yeah.
And then they panned around like he wasn't there, and then he was down on the field. So I don't know if that was legit or not, but yeah, apparently this guy was dared to do it or something. But yeah, he just got.
This is exactly how the CBS halftime show was. So go ahead and talk amongst yourselves.
That's what we were doing, and then you interrupted us to tell us that this is how the halftime show is.
Oh, keep going. Just keep going.
Okay. I see what you're doing here. I see what you're doing.
Interesting. I honestly didn't even realize it.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're.
Yeah, I honestly didn't realize. Like, I was watching the game, but I didn't pay attention to halftime, so I didn't even realize that all that had gone on. So what really?
I was ironing my clothes that day. At that time.
Did you starch them enough?
Yes, I did. So I took your advice and used a fucking potato.
There you go.
And I had to rewash all my clothes. So to whoever's listening and watching and doing all this stuff, nobody wants to hear about my boomer talk. I understand. So
and you're the youngest
watching,
of us. You're the youngest person on this podcast.
Here's the Earl's fun fact or fun tidbit, or Earl's not to. That's what we're gonna call this segment. Earl's not to. Don't use fucking potatoes on dress clothes because then you have to rewash it a couple times.
Wow. Just wow.
Yeah.
Back to the show.
Yeah, back to the. I don't even know how we come back from that, but yeah, no. Looking at the lineup for this halftime show, like I was having a conversation with someone the other day. I said, honestly, this is probably the best lineup they've had in close to a decade, if not longer. You know, this is the stuff that we grew up with, the hip hop, of the 90s into the 2000s that really shaped the way that it looked going forward. And I was looking back through some of the shows of the past few years, and yeah, I honestly care more about this halftime show than I do the game. Like the game is going to be fun to watch because you've got two teams that haven't been there in forever. You've got Matt Stafford going in who couldn't do it with the Lions, and year one with the Rams, they come in and they just play consistent football for the majority of the year, and they looked good going into it. And you've got the Bengals, who I wouldn't have picked them at the beginning of the year, but
I wouldn't have picked them last week.
No, I wouldn't have picked them last week either. And I think it's going to be a good game to watch. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But this halftime show, man, I'm looking forward to this. I try to explain to my kids, I said, just how important this show is, like how important these artists are. And they're looking at me like, what are you talking about?
I'm excited because we have Matthew Stafford and all these freaking halftime show singers, and it's the closest that Detroit will ever get to a Super Bowl.
I've lost it with Seth. I've lost it. I could just see him like with a whiteboard and like all these strings, like what's his name from It's Always Sunny? Just like with your kids sitting in front of you going, what?
How many songs do you think they fit in? Over under 10?
Fitty. Gotta be Fitty.
I mean, you gotta have at least like
they always
songs
do
in there.
They always do that one like mashup of like 30 seconds of like 17 songs. Yeah, see 30. So they're gonna try to do that. And then like how do you narrow it down with are there 5 of them? Am I missing somebody? Or is there 4?
Yeah, there's 5.
5. So with those 5 artists, how do you narrow it down to anything less than 3 songs a piece?
Yeah.
I know that's only 15, but like I don't know how you narrow it down. I don't know. It's going
How do you
top
Janet Jackson though?
You showed 2 nipples?
Oh, okay.
So Allie can't hear your guys' side of the conversation. She can just hear what I say. And I say you show 2 nipples, and she looks at me like I'm crazy. And they're the ones that ask the question.
As long as it's not Earl's nipples, I think we're okay.
It'll be it'll be Dre's.
Gosh. Look, if the Bengals win, I will show both my nipples on air.
Okay, so if the Bengals win, he's not coming back on the
Earl,
podcast.
we don't want to get struck for child pornography.
Because he's the baby. Because he's the baby. I get it. It's funny.
I'm the baby, but I'm the old man that's fucking ironing his clothes on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and goes to bed at like 8.
Actually, I did go to bed yesterday at 7 o'clock.
I have no words.
No, it was 8. It was after 911. After my TV drama.
Oh God. That just made
programs.
That just made it more boomerish.
That I had to find on TV Guide.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, are we gonna do a show or what?
We are.
We're in the show, and I don't even know tonight. I don't even know.
That's okay. Okay. I'll get us back on the track. Okay. So we did have a few bits of news. I don't know where Seth wanted to start, but I want to start with this trade.
Okay, time out.
You want me to get us back on track, and then you call timeout.
No, we have a question in the chat from Harry. Any question Harry sends in, it's an answer automatic.
Oh no, because it's you. It's only because you get to answer.
Listen. How do I freaking mute this guy? God,
you can't. I can. See, look.
Figured it out. See, Control D unmutes myself. Harry. So the TV drama I watch is 911 Lone Star. And then next month...
Can't believe we are currently having this conversation right now.
Next month, it'll be 911 regular. And then tomorrow, I'll have to catch up because these young bucks over here like to stay up past fucking midnight. So tomorrow I'll watch New Amsterdam. So if you're looking for something to watch on TV,
Don't watch any of those.
There you go. Those are the best ones.
Oh god. I literally just watched the eyes, the little eye icon up here, go from 7 to 3 during that conversation. Okay.
Until they find out that I'm still awake.
Okay.
All right. Jacob, you're gonna try to get us back on track.
I was gonna try. So probably the biggest news since we were here 2 weeks ago was that we had a trade for New Mexico United, which kind of happened last year. I would say Saalih for Brown it wasn't branded as a trade, but it was
a loan swap is what that was.
So potato. But this was a flat out trade. It was Jerome Kiesewetter coming over from FC Tulsa after a semi-tumultuous year for Brian Brown, who was coming off of a semi-tumultuous year. And I mean, we obviously talked about it in the chat and stuff, but I kind of want to see, now that we've had some time to think about it a little more, maybe digest it a little. Have your guys' thoughts changed? Yeah. And if so, what are they? Or for the listeners and viewers out there, what are your thoughts anyways, even if they haven't changed?
Yeah, I think this was a big move for us. We kind of knew that Brian was still. Earl, what are you doing?
Earl. Let's just go ahead and do that. Go ahead.
Yeah, there we go. So we kind of figured that Brian was still under contract by the way the end of the loan was worded with Oakland Roots last season. And you talked about it being kind of a tumultuous year. I mean, Brian, obviously, we talked about he looked good in the preseason. We had high expectations for him. And then it just didn't happen. It just wasn't clicking. And so we ended up doing the loan swap, send him out to Oakland. We get Saalih back in return.
I'm glad that you said we had high hopes for him, when it was very clearly one person on here that has a bunch of egg on his face. Yours truly. Yeah. I said a Golden Boot contender.
Can we say a bunch of egg?
Our team MVP.
Look, we say a bunch of egg because that fucking semi of a forehead.
And wow, was I wrong?
Yeah, and you know, honestly, even once he got out to Oakland, he didn't really do a lot for the Roots. You know, obviously, I think we got the better end of that swap. You know, Saalih coming over,
clearly
putting in the effort and showing the way that he could play. I think this is a great move. Number one, I assume I assume this is us offloading a little bit of cap, you know, a little bit of roster funds.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't know, man.
Because I think Brian Brown probably pulled in a higher salary than Jerome Kiesewetter did. Because you've got Brian Brown, I think he's had a little bit more of a bet. I think you could say he's had a better career to this point. Now, over the past 2 years, neither him or Jerome have done well at all. Jerome obviously didn't do well over in Miami, didn't do well in Tulsa last year. He comes in now to a system where, and we've been trying to play around with this. I know you put a post up on Facebook the other day in United Nation talking about potential lineups. And we knew that Ilio's coming back, and looking at everything. And I think having Jerome and like Nico both up top, I think that provides an interesting dynamic. Maybe you put two at the top in that sort of scenario. And I think this is a really good deal for us. Now, Harry mentioned in the chat, it's a good move for both clubs. I hope this works out for FC Tulsa. I hope Brian Brown goes over there. I hope he has a good season. But looking at it just in terms of what each player brings to their respective clubs, I feel like Jerome brings more to us than what Brian takes there.
See, and I think that's where we differ a slight bit. I'm optimistic for this move. I think it has a chance to work out very well. But Jerome and Brian Brown are the same person to me at the moment. I understand that their playing styles are a little different, and and there's a decent chance that Kiesewetter comes in here and performs better than Brian Brown by quite a bit. But that's not saying a whole lot. Brian Brown had 2 goals, I believe, and a couple of assists, but they're both in the prove it stage for me. And so until we can see him out on the pitch and see him produce in the regular season, because we saw Brian Brown produce in the preseason a little bit. So I'm just kind of in a wait and see pattern and see how this move shakes out. It has potential though to be huge. I got into it with some people on Facebook about Kiesewetter starting for us, and I don't see that happening as the lone striker or the only guy up the pitch, because Nico is head and shoulders above everybody else right there for that number 9 starting spot, and he will be, unless he's hurt, I believe will be our number 1 guy up there. And that, I mean, it's really not even a question for me. But what Jerome can bring is depth, and he can bring a way that we can change it up, like you were mentioning, Seth, with 2 up top. I think that could be very interesting, especially with Nico's willingness to share the ball and not just be about finishing. He's a brilliant finisher, but he had several assists last year, and I think some of his highlights were more assists than goals last year. And so I think that, like I said, I'm optimistic that it can be a fantastic move for us. And I messaged Brian Brown on Instagram the other day and told him that I wish him the best, because I'm really, really bummed that it didn't work out here, and I would have liked to see him maybe get another shot this year. I feel like maybe with the change at the managerial spot, and having another Jamaican and Nico Brett up top with him, and to share, or to be involved with the club and stuff, then maybe it could have been different. But I'll take the trade, and I kind of like that. El Paso is like, hey, we're going to steal your backup goaltender, and we're like, hey, we're going to steal probably your best forward that you've had in your 3 years of existence. Granted, it wasn't from them directly. It is nice to see somebody from El Paso actually come over to our side for once, instead of going the other way around.
Earl, what's your take on it?
What did you just tell me?
I said, what's your take on it?
I don't know. I mean, I like Brian Brown. I wish it would have worked out here. But I mean, I called it before it was even there. I said I would love some kind of loan deal for whoever the hell the guy's name was, and Kiesewetter.
Yeah, it was Rodrigo da Costa that you mentioned, and then Kiesewetter. And I'm going to be completely honest. I thought you were high as a kite. Damn it!
Hey, good to see the forehead, Jacob.
I did not know what was coming, and I didn't expect it. That is for sure. And so it was a huge surprise, and yeah, you called it, and good for you. As hard as that is for me to say.
Yeah, I mean, it was given to me by your big old forehead.
Yeah, thanks.
Here comes the forehead jokes. Says we got our buddy Sombrero Man in the chat with us now.
Yeah, that trade deal, and that's something that doesn't ever really happen within soccer, is a straight trade. The clubs were kind of like going back and forth on Twitter, and none of us were really sure as to what was going to happen.
Jacob was sure it was nothing.
I was fairly sure that it was nothing. I did think it was kind of weird that they posted, because usually when that Twitter stuff happens, if it's nothing, it just stays on Twitter. They don't share it across multiple platforms. But they did put the "Hey Tulsa" with the wave on Facebook and Instagram, I believe. And so I did think that was weird and thought maybe something was coming up, but I didn't see Jerome's name coming up, or I knew Rodrigo wasn't going to come. I knowing how they performed last year and the moves that they've been making to try to be competitive this year, they weren't going to give him up for anybody. And honestly, I didn't know what Brian Brown's like value was. Like when you mentioned that, I was like, well, we'd have to give up Brown for sure. And I didn't think they would do a Brown for Kiesewetter swap, even with Kiesewetter's troubles last year.
Yeah, I just hope that Kiesewetter runs like full force from the curse and just drop kicks Yuma in the mouth.
Oh, dude, if we could get him on the podcast, I would totally ask him about you. I'd be like, so did you hate Yuma as much as everybody else hates Yuma?
And of course, you're not going to get an answer to that. No,
you're not. Yeah. No, he's a good guy. He's one of those players that you love him when he's on your team and you hate to go up against him, but every team's got to have, that's the answer you're going to get. And unless I would love to have somebody that doesn't come from the Troy Lassane line of answering questions.
Yeah.
And just to like, he doesn't know, he can give us vanilla answers 95% of the time, but every once in a while, just throw us a little bone and be like, yeah, he was a dick. Hated that guy.
Yeah, that'd be
Mark
nice.
Lowry.
Yeah. Now Lowry probably loved it. I'm kind of surprised he's not in Indy right now.
Yeah, kind of a little bit of surprises there. But yeah, I mean, we've got what looks to be a final roster now, guys. We've
kind of. We're still gonna get a backup keeper.
Oh yeah, obviously we're still missing. We do not have a backup keeper at the moment. But I mean, the roster appears to be pretty much set. The club did, of course, announce the return of Mike Azira and Ilya Illich, which we knew from the schedule video that it was coming.
The infamous whiteboard.
Yeah, the infamous whiteboard. So I knew those two signings are coming back, and I think that both of those players do provide us with additional depth, both in the midfield and obviously in the attacking aspects of the game. Because you look at who's listed as a forward right now on the website. You got Nico Brett, Jerome Kiesewetter, Ilya Illich, Christian Nava, Armando Moreno, obviously, who's out with injury. You've got Tabor Ataka, and you've got Bees, all listed as forwards. And then certainly sitting in the midfield right now, we've got Sam, Sergio, Will, Carl, Mike, Daniel, Justin, and Harry. So you've got like some really stacked groups there. And we know guys like Bees and Tabor Ataka, they're guys that can play out of the midfield too. So we've got, and Sam, of course, can obviously go midfield or defensive, wherever we need him. Carlos, man, thank you for being here, brother. We appreciate you hopping in after your surgery today or yesterday.
Man,
hopefully you get to feeling better.
Got to see you on March 13th.
Yeah,
maybe March 5th. Hopefully, we can get out there March 5th too.
Yeah, and so like you mentioned, we're still missing a backup keeper. We do have a question in the chat, Aaron Reeder. Do we know about the keeper trial list? We don't know. We don't know anything. We're still waiting to see. Obviously, you're not going to make it through a season with having just one keeper. I mean, I guess you could technically if your starter didn't get injured or whatever, but you obviously want to have someone in there as a backup just in case. So maybe we see someone pull up from the academy squad. Maybe we see a trialist come in. We don't know. Obviously, we've got quite a while until rosters are locked. So that's going to remain up in the air. Talking about, other moves that United has made, there really hasn't been too much. We did, of course, see Luke Sanford welcomed in as the new academy head coach. And then the club did welcome back Chief Business Officer Ron Patel, who was one of the founders of the club. So can't wait to talk to Ron. Hopefully we'll get him on the podcast here before too long. What is there anything that we can take away from these two front office moves, or do you think really in the grand scheme of things, those are more behind the scenes things that we're not going to see a lot of?
Well, we all know what Ron did the first year. I mean, Ron was an incredible human. on the pitch, off the pitch, an integral part of bringing United to New Mexico. And then he left. And then we would see him once in a while in the stands, in the seats, in the party deck with the players. And then all of a sudden he didn't know what he was doing anymore. And then he was signed with United again. So I'm excited to see Ron back. I love Ron as much as I just talked about him. I love him. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Ron,
think-
go ahead.
I just basically was going to reiterate what Earl said. I think it's great to have him back. I'm glad he didn't take Clint's job again. They have a new position for him, which is nice. And there were multiple times in year one where I watched from kind of the third deck, kind of midfield, where the 205 seats are.
It's where he was spraying the champagne off.
Yeah, just to the right of that, or just to the south of that, there's a little spot there where I would always watch the games, and I would always see Ron running back and forth to all the suites and stuff. And every once in a while, he'd stop and watch the game with me. And there was like a 3-game stretch there where it seemed like every time he stopped to watch the game with me, we would score. And it was just good times. We celebrated a handful of goals from that spot, and I hope to see him walking around again, and we know he'll do what he can to help this organization because he obviously loves it. When you found something and then come back to it, when you help found something and then you come back to it, it's all hard. So I'm happy that he's back.
Yeah, Ron, of course, left here, went down to RGV for a season, and then took over a position at NISA and helped get the NISA Nation going over there. And of course, now he's back with United. I ran into Ron several times over the first couple of seasons. During season 1, I ran into him more than a few times over at Salt Yard. I had some conversations with him, and he's the guy that's just super passionate about this club, about soccer here in New Mexico. And those of you who don't know, he did also have some involvement with the Albuquerque Soul as well. And so Ron has just been a huge force in local sports. And so, glad to see him back. It'll be good to see him around the stadium again, up in the press box, talking to him and stuff. And a little inside baseball here. Back in season 1, Ron actually told us over at Salt Yard one night, and it was me and him and a friend of ours, Chris Walker. We were sitting there, and Ron was telling us that we had Phil Beichel. He wasn't listed on the roster anywhere. He wasn't, because we know now there were visa issues, couldn't get him signed. But yeah, Ron was just kind of telling us about him, letting us know a little bit about him and get to know a little bit more about that. And of course, when Phil came in season 2, fully signed, it was great to see. But yeah, Ron's just an awesome dude. So we'll reach out to Ron, see if we can't get him on the show one of these nights to talk to you guys. And I think that's going to be fantastic for the club. There really hasn't been a whole lot. Yeah, Harry's got some great points over here in the chat, and we'll get to some of those. I don't know if you guys are aware of some of the stuff that went on over the weekend. One last thing that the club did announce, the 2022 preseason schedule did come out. New Mexico United is slated to play 5 preseason matches. You've got one kicking off this Saturday, February 5th, against San Diego Loyal. They've got another one on Wednesday, February 9th, against the Vancouver Whitecaps from MLS. Orange County on Saturday, February 12th, and then El Paso Locomotive down in El Paso. The first 3 are all in San Diego. Then, of course, Saturday, February 26th, El Paso, and then one preseason home match Saturday, March 5th at Mesa del Sol. I know when this came out, we were kind of disappointed that there was only one home match. And then there were some more questions posted across social media asking, are the matches going to be streamed? Are there going to be, are there going to be, in some way to follow these? And the club said they were looking to find ways to at least live tweet the matches. And there's a question in chat, and we'll get to this here in just a second. Aaron, I'll go ahead and pop that up. Aaron Reader says, why are they all in San Diego? Man, guys, what was your reaction to the preseason schedule? Were you expecting there to be more here in town, or did you think there might be something else in the works?
It didn't really bother me. I mean, to be honest, I didn't really pay attention to the preseason schedule coming out. So this is kind of the first time I heard it. So that's news to me. But
how is this the first time you heard it? It was like a week ago.
Look, I've been hiding under a rock. I'm in bed by 8 o'clock. My flip phone stopped working.
Gotta get that Moto Z Flip.
Do you have a pager? Does the pager work?
I do have a pager, and it tells me to check my phone, and then I can't find my phone, and then I look for my walker, and that's missing too.
This is why we don't tag Earl on social media, because he can't access it from his flip phone.
Yeah, it's a
Nokia
jitterbug.
brick.
My jitterbug.
Do you have the Earl? Can I see the necklace? The life alert necklace?
No, that's put on the stand to charge. You see that stand right?
But it doesn't do you any good over there because if you fall the other way, you can't reach it.
Well, that's why I'm sitting down.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
See, I'm sitting down mostly because my hip hurts. Sometimes my neck, my back. Sometimes. Where the fuck are we going with this one? So to be honest, no. This is the first time I've heard the schedule. I don't understand. Seeming that we had like every match at home preseason last season, except for I think 2 or 3, maybe 2.
I don't know.
I want to say 2 were away last year, because we went to Phoenix and went to FC Tucson. So yeah, 2. Seeming that all of them were pretty much at home last year. I mean, it's fine. I don't need to go to preseason games.
We went to one last year.
I know. I went to the first one last year.
Anyways, as somebody that did know the schedule came out before 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, carry on, because I already forgot what I was talking about.
I think the having them all in San Diego, it kind of reminds me of spring training for baseball. Like you go to one spot that's going to have good weather, that's going to have good grass, that several other teams are going to be at and have access to, and you kind of just all spend your time there where you don't have to worry about if it's going to be I think tomorrow the low or Thursday the low is 0 here in Fort Sumner. So, you're not going to have to worry about that in San Diego. So, I think that would be my guess as to why they're doing it there.
No, that's not why they're doing it there.
You didn't even know they were doing it there until 2 seconds ago.
Look, I do know what they are doing at Mesa del Sol. There's construction going on right now.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with where the pitch is.
They're making freaking locker rooms. That's probably what's going on.
But that's not where the pitch is.
Listen, mute this guy. How the fuck do I mute this guy?
I don't think you can.
You might be right, Earl. You might be. But I don't think.
God, I hope I am.
I don't think so maybe we need clarification because they have a locker room there that I thought they were still in for now. So I would think that they have to have some place to have everything until the new one is built. So my guess is they're still where they were, and that if they were going to
move Mesa del Sol.
Oh my God, Earl. This guy. Anyways. And then as far as them only having one, I'm not necessarily bummed that it's only one. I would be okay if it was only one. I just hate that it's not till the week before we get to watch them in person at the lab. Like, I want my fix now. Like, I need to watch live soccer today, not a week or a month from today. That's the problem that I have with the schedule.
All right, easy Ozzy Osbourne.
If that was a joke, I didn't get it. Me and Seth are both like,
too,
I don't
know. Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of disappointing that we didn't have more than one here. And I think you guys nailed it. As far as why they're all out in San Diego, it's to get that warm weather training. I don't think that has to do with pitch conditions or anything. It's get the warm weather training. Like, you don't want the guys necessarily training.
Well, isn't that kind of pitch conditions? Like,
Well,
wouldn't you rather have our guys playing on like a softer kind of warm surface than at Mesa del Sol in 20-degree weather and a rock
well,
hard pitch?
Well, yeah, yes. I mean, I would rather them not be playing on a freezing pitch, for their preseason matches. But I in terms of like specific pitch conditions, I don't think that's it. I think it's just warm weather training, get them out, get them loose, because it's easier to warm up and run and play and get out there when the weather's warmer. It's easier to get loose and understand where your fitness levels are at. I think compared to playing in winter conditions. I mean, like you said, it's going to be 6 degrees tomorrow. We're expecting snow or basically across most of the state over the next 24 to 48 hours. So, yeah, you definitely don't want to have days where they can't get out there. You'd rather than be in that weather to where they can, get out there.
Yeah.
And to answer Earl's question from earlier, we did have 6 preseason matches last year. 3 were here in Albuquerque. We had 1 in Tucson against Colorado Rapids, 1 in Chula Vista against Loyal, and then another in Chandler, Arizona against Phoenix Rising. FC Tucson was here. Aaron says, what about altitude, though? #drink. That's our new thing this year. Anytime someone mentions the altitude, we're going to start doing shots. That's what we're going to do.
Deal. It has to be before 6 o'clock though, because I take my meds at 6:30.
Oh man, Earl, we're gonna get you like signed with an agency, and you're gonna be the new medical alert bracelet guy, the diabetic guy,
Metamucil.
Metamucil. That's what we're gonna do for you, Earl. That way you can at least cash in on being a boomer.
Carrying on.
But yeah, I mean, that's all the New Mexico United news we have this week. It's real quick. We do want to touch on New Mexico Runners. They did lose their last match out to the RGV Barracudas. They will be at home again this weekend. Do I have that correct?
The 5th.
The 5th. They'll be back home on the 5th. I'm assuming 5:05 kickoff again for the Runners out at the Rio Rancho Events Center. So get out there, check them out.
It's the return of Casey.
Yes, that's right. Casey Gassol's coming in as they play the Colorado FC something or other.
Colorado Inferno.
There you go.
See, I was trying to surprise you guys today, and I can spoil it now because he's obviously not fucking here. I was going to share this link that you sent with Mr. Casey. So it was going to be a surprise guest for you two.
Oh.
Obviously with Casey being a pro soccer player or semi-pro soccer player or whatever it's called. He's at practice right now. So that didn't work out.
All right. Well, hey, we will definitely get Casey on the show again at some point. But yeah, go check out the Runners this weekend at Rio Rancho Events Center, Saturday night, 5:05 kickoff. I'll be out there this weekend. I don't know if either of you guys are going to be in town. No. All right. Well, I'll be out there. We might have some live tweets going on. But I tried to live tweet the last match I was at. Holy crap. The action is so fast paced. Like it's hard to really keep up with it. So yeah, if you see me out there Saturday night, I might, as long as Andres doesn't kill me, I might bring a couple the New Mexico United flags to pass out to some folks that we still have some extras of. Otherwise, we'll be out there. We're cheering on the Runners. Can't wait to see them in action again. They got, I think, 4 more matches left in their season. So I have to do the math to see if they still have a chance of making the playoffs this year. But anyway, yeah, get out there, support them Saturday night, get your tickets. And then next up on the show, I did want to ask you guys, and Jacob, the way you reacted earlier, I think you kind of saw what happened with the whole NISA New Amsterdam FC drama.
So I am on Twitter now,
Yes.
So I have seen it. I do not care about it. I do not have any idea what is actually going on other than the New Amsterdam guy, my understanding is it is the owner that is running the Twitter account, and he is basically just airing all this dirty laundry. It it makes for some good soap opera banter, but I honestly don't know what it's gonna lead to or anything like that. So I've been a part of it because I'm in that lower league soccer Twitter atmosphere, but that is literally the extent of my knowledge of it.
All right. So, and Earl, I think you may not have seen any of this at all, but so Jacob's got the gist of it. So what happened last week is U.S. Open Cup and NISA announced the clubs that are participating in the 2022 U.S. Open Cup.
Mm-hmm.
NISA put out an announcement saying these are teams from NISA that are going to be part of the tournament. New Amsterdam FC was not on their list. Well, New Amsterdam FC, who famously their owner has put himself into the lineup multiple times to play goalie, put out a series of tweets saying that they had already paid their fee to join the Open Cup. They were expecting to be a part of it, and they were not. They were shocked to see the announcement from NISA saying they weren't going to be included. It then went on from there, saying that they've been asking for the financial statements and other things from NISA, and NISA was not providing this information to New Amsterdam FC. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar, the way I understand the way NISA works is that NISA basically runs the teams, owns all the teams, and then the actual ownership groups own a percentage of each club. Now, the New Amsterdam FC Twitter account was putting out pictures showing like a check that they had already signed and sent into Open Cup and all this other stuff. And yeah, like Jacob said, airing all this dirty laundry about NISA, putting out all these accusations about how the league has been run and what's going to happen going forward. Because as of right now, they only have 10 teams going into their 2022 season. Well, I just found a new report today that over on themajors.net, and apparently, according to Knights Who Say NISA over on Twitter, at Knights Who Say NISA, they have a source that has told them that the league board voted today, and they voted to not allow New Amsterdam FC back into the league for 2022. So apparently, yeah, so New Amsterdam FC has been voted out. The owner is apparently married to the owner of Chicago House AC, and both of those clubs have been voted out of NISA for 2022. So a whole bunch of lower league soccer drama going on. If there's any sort of truth to any of this, who do you think it's going to fall more on the side on? Do you think the league is right and what they're saying is going on, or do you think that New Amsterdam FC is right in their accusations here? And how bad does this make NISA look?
I think that's the thing there, is that it makes both of them look absolutely terrible. And I don't think we'll ever know full details, like the truth. You know, we'll hear one side, we'll hear the other, but we don't know exactly which one's lying and which one's telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So,
Help
to
me,
me,
God.
yeah, to me, it's just a mess for everybody, and I blame the Open Cup. That's what I blame. It's the Open Cup's fault. We sucked in year one afterwards. It's the Open Cup's fault that we still don't have a schedule or pairings because they have delayed it 3 times, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all the Open Cup's fault. So that's my take.
Well, Earl, what would you say if I told you, if after all of this, you've got Chicago House AC and New Amsterdam voted out of NISA, what would you say if I told you that those two clubs have announced that they are now exploring founding their own league to begin playing 2023?
I would say good for them.
Yeah, because that's what they're doing, and it's insane. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know how this would work for them. I don't know. I don't know enough about the owners of these two clubs to speak about their financials, how all this would work. Like, this is just absolutely this week on soccer Twitter has just been absolutely insane. Like, between all of this stuff and then the Mason Greenwood stuff, which we won't even touch on that. Like, there's been so much soccer drama going on this week. Like, I'm ready to just like, all right, deuce, it's time for a vacation, like.
Yeah, no one cares. Listen, did you know hunting unicorns is legal in Michigan?
Hunting what?
Unicorns.
Okay, then.
Now you do.
Yeah, I think he said that, Harry. Yeah, it's a disaster.
Yeah, and so Harry, I know you've been following all this. You put out some tweets and retweets about it, and I mean, this just blows my mind, like how it has devolved so quickly, and it makes me realize just like how fortunate we are to have New Mexico United and San Antonio and other clubs like this in a league that's established like the USL, that has grown and shown stability over decades of being in existence.
There's two teams that I can do without in the USL, and one is Phoenix, and the other is El Paso. And listen,
you would miss them if they were gone.
No, listen. Did you know the Cookie Monster has a real name?
You would miss them if they're gone, just like you're gonna miss Solomon Asante now that he's gone.
It's Sid, by the way.
What?
I don't care about your stupid facts, Earl. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah,
Anyways.
So the Nisa thing was a shit show. This has turned into a shit show. Last year's United season was a shit show.
So Jacob, you were texting us earlier, and we really don't have any other topics for tonight's show, like serious topics. There wasn't a lot of news this week. You told us you had some questions for us, and you gave a couple of them to us in the chat earlier. I want you to lay those on us.
So these are kind of.
Hey, Beavis, he said laid on us.
Earl is on point tonight.
The last couple seasons, we've done a written article, kind of recapping the last season, talking about the off season, and then previewing the upcoming season. And so, writing doesn't exist anymore. So figured we would just do it a little bit on the pod here and kind of talk about a little bit of last year, and then I'll have some next episode about some off season stuff, and then we'll finish right there before the season starts with some predictions, which we all know we're so great at and we never get anything wrong. So yeah, this year or today I kind of just threw a few questions at you because you guys were smart asses until Earl actually answered the question that I asked and said that he wanted them beforehand. So I came up with three pretty easy questions. I mean, they're just little softball lobs for you guys to.
Hey, before you get into that,
oh God, if this is a fun fact from you, I'm gonna leave.
Would you rather us give you crap in our group chat, or would you rather me point out that David Carl is firing shots at you on Twitter?
No, because I get it. I'll get it all anyways. I'd rather have one safe space. Okay.
Twitter is not the place to be for a safe space, my friend.
See, and this used to be your safe space until we found out that your wife can't hear what we talk about. And when you start talking about two nipples, I mean, it just becomes a shit show.
No, it used to be my safe space until I decided to change my hair. And then you guys realized that I have a forehead, much like you guys do. And y'all just won't let it go.
It was a safe space until Earl was invited.
No, you've been here a long time and it's been okay.
Yeah, Harry, we actually saw that earlier. Jacob did bring up in our group text. Romeo Parks landed with the Miami FC.
I was happy for him.
Glad to see him catch on somewhere else.
Anyways, let's touch on Jacob's questions.
Okay, so my first question to you guys was, what was your favorite moment? I'm going to start with the moment one. Now, I think there's one semi-obvious answer for me anyways, but I'll go last to see if you guys think along the same lines.
For me, it had to be Bees' return. You know, I not necessarily just like him walking back out on the pitch, which obviously, you know, got a huge reaction from the home fans, but just the announcement of him returning to the club and then seeing what that turned into, like that moment, like really changed the trajectory of our season last year.
So I have two of them. One not so serious and the other one actually legit. So let's go ahead and start with the legit one, or the not so legit one, and that was after the El Paso match here. I can't remember which one it was. You see Devin Sandoval walk up to Yuma, who's sitting on the floor trying to tie his shoe or something, and gets him in like a WWE style headlock, and Yuma, like the never mind, I'm not gonna say it. Like the scoundrel he is, was tapping for mercy. That was probably one of my favorite moments. But legit, my favorite moment was seeing Christian Nava debut.
Yeah, those were not my choice, but as Earl's serious one is very good. That was a good moment. And then Weehan, and I'll kind of group Weehan and Saalih, just both of them coming back and playing parts in our kind of uptick there towards the end of last season. Both of those were good moments. Mine, we had the return of soccer to the lab, which was a moment that I think all of us were there for, and all of us kind of reacted semi-emotionally to it, I believe. It was 570 some odd days between games there at the lab, and to have
it was also 570 odd degrees outside when we were setting up that fucking pitch.
it was but it was just it was a great moment. And after the year of the Devil 2020, and not having a home game there, and having all this other pent up stuff that we had to deal with, to be able to go to the lab and see 8,000, 7,000, however many it was for that first match there, even though it was half of what our highest total was in 2019. It was still loud, it was still electric in there. And then when we scored that first goal, it was just the place just blew up. So you did too. It was a good moment. So that was mine.
Most people who know me, I cry for commercials. Like the Hey Loretta commercial. So if you don't know, go Google Hey Loretta and then watch that video. And if you don't cry, you're a heartless bastard.
Okay, so what was Earl's favorite goal of 2021?
All right, so I'm gonna try something cool. I'm gonna see if it lets me. Hang on, I don't know what I'm fucking doing.
Probably messing up is my guess, but
nope, it let me. So I don't know if you get to see my screen or not, but this is my favorite goal.
No, we can't see your screen because you missed. Oh, wait. Ah, the Illich one. That was a good goal. At the time, it was a huge goal for us. We desperately needed that point, and yeah, that was a good one. I'm glad you figured out how to put it on the screen because I was going to try to make a video if you guys actually told me what they were beforehand, but you didn't. So now I'm going to have to figure out how to do that for mine.
You just hit stop. So I have 2 monitors. That's what makes my life easier.
Oh, well, then never mind. Seth, what was yours?
Gosh, I was thinking about that, and it was kind of tough going back and forth. I looked at, obviously Austin's, goal of the year winner. I looked at Ilya's goal, and then I went back and I rewatched Saalih's goal, and Saalih is not a guy that puts a lot of shots on goal. I mean, prior to that match, he had 1 shot, 1 goal in his career. And then I'd say Saalih's goal against RGV this season was just a stunner of a goal. Beautifully worked. He made a great play on the ball, put his boot through it. And what I think fancy, it's a great goal by Saalih. Great timing by him.
Yeah, I'm trying desperately to remember, because when you say Saalih goal, the only thing I could think of is 2020 with his worldie that should have been goal of the year and somehow wasn't even in the semifinals of goal of the year in 2020.
It's because USL's rigged.
Well, we typically rig it in our favor is how it usually works.
That's
but
true.
I don't know what happened there. But so mine was it was actually the last goal of the season. Bruce Schmidt played a long ball over the top of everybody to Bruce in the lab against Real Monarchs, and Bruce had a very cheeky chip over the Monarchs keeper, and at the time, because of the way that the schedule was laid out, it kept our playoff hopes alive, and so we were already winning that match, but it cemented that win, went out on a good note, and then had a chance to make the playoffs if some other results had gone our way. But of course, as we know, they did not. But there were a lot of goals. I looked at that one. You mentioned obviously the goal of the year. Brown had a fun one. Which one is this, Earl? Is this mine or is this Seth's? If it's mine, it's right there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one.
Beautiful cheeky little chip there, and then his celebration with the flag and the shushing. And Bruce is also. I have a dog named Bruce now. He's one of my favorite players. Just love this little chip here, and it was just a fun moment. I think me and my wife were celebrating pretty good with that one, and just love that goal. But there were a lot to choose from. Well, and the sad part is there weren't a lot to choose from. There should have been more to choose from, but we had some really good goals. We had the goal of the year. We had that one. We had Bruce and Tenari both had bangers against Real Monarchs in the game that we lost 3-2. I couldn't pick a goal of the year from a goal where we lost. Just couldn't do it. So, what was looking back in last year? What are you going to take away from last year that will stick with you and be something that you will either like keep close to you or something that didn't sit right with you? Just what about last year is going to stick with you?
Loudon. Before you do that,
no.
What are you doing?
So I would be messed up if I didn't show Seth's.
I'm glad you found it.
Oh yeah.
See, I am kind of good at some things.
Yeah, see, I just love the way that we worked the ball into the box here, and then when it got played back out, like you just Saalih right place, right time.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Azira's header against Colorado Springs was probably
Oh yeah.
real high for me too. We desperately needed that win. We were in a funk. We were up a man for like the last hour, it seemed like, and that one was good too. But thank you, Earl, for bringing those up. I wanted to try to figure out a way to do that earlier, and I just never got around to it. Today was a hectic day, so appreciate
So
that.
there was a second one, a really, really close one for me. And I think it was the one that Brucey scored his little chip. Earlier in that match, there was Mondo who broke the ankles of one of the defenders.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that was that game, but yeah.
I think it was.
I think you might have been right. I think it was that game because I think it was Wehan, Moreno, and Bruce that scored that game. But yeah, that one was a good individual effort there. I like the Bruce one. It was just a beautiful ball from Schmidt. It's the last play that Schmidt is going to have, unless he comes back after the military stint, and I don't necessarily see that happening. So I just really like that Bruce goal. But so what are you going to take away from last year?
I mean, I jokingly say Loudon, but we had a lot of missed opportunities as a club, and I mean, not necessarily off the pitch or anything, but on the pitch, we had a lot of missed opportunities, and hopefully that's something that we can build from, grow from, and improve on here in the new season. So,
yeah, we can kind of talk about the players coming in and see if we think they're gonna have an impact on being able to capitalize on those opportunities this year as opposed to last year. Well, we'll bring that up on next week's show. Next week? Are we doing next week? I meant to ask this before we started, so we didn't have to talk shop on the podcast. But
no, I'm unavailable next week unless we do Wednesday.
Okay.
I cannot do Tuesday. My wife will wring my neck.
So next Tuesday, guys, join me and Seth. I'm just, well, we'll figure that out. We can probably do 2 weeks from now. I
have a wife's birthday that day, so
2 weeks.
Can't miss that.
Yeah. So 2 weeks from today, we'll talk about some of the off-season moves, and then Earl, do you have a big takeaway from last year?
My biggest takeaway was soccer's back. I mean, after not having soccer for a whole year, having to watch it on TVs, not in bars like we usually would, not in groups like we used to, just having soccer back in Albuquerque was incredible.
Yeah, we March 5th. We're a month away from being able to hopefully watch that preseason match, and then the very next Sunday we'll be there for the regular season, and yeah, that's a good one. To me, it's very hard to win soccer games when you can't score goals, and that is something that sounds obvious, but last year it bore out too many times where the defense would hold up and we would come away with a 0-0 draw, or we'd get one goal and couldn't find a second. It was very frustrating. And so I'm looking forward to what we did this year and this off season, and hopefully we can do something to fix that and win some more games, make the playoffs easily, and hopefully have a really good year next year.
So another takeaway I have, it's a pretty big takeaway actually. FEP.
Yes. Yes. I'm so curious to see what they look like this year. Like we're not an El Paso podcast, but what they have done this offseason, I'm just genuinely curious as to how they're going to look, if they're going to even be anywhere near where they were, or because they gave us a lot of crap when Troy left, and then like 3 days later Lowry left and took Rebion and Mishek Drome with him, and then they lost a few other players here and there, and they brought
Logan
some people in.
Head.
Yeah, they brought some players in. I mean, they're definitely not going to be terrible. They definitely aren't rebuilding or anything like that. They're just kind of trying to retool. But I'm curious to see what Hutchinson does over there, and that'll be That'll be interesting to see what happens there. But who's your favorite player last year, Seth?
I mean, the easy way out is to say Bees.
Yeah.
That's the easy way out. Honestly, I think Alex. I think Alex was a lot of fun to watch in goal. He.
Sorry, I believe that this is your sincere answer, but I couldn't help but think that it was just a shot at Earl. And if it's both your sincere answer and a shot at Earl, kudos, because that's.
Oh yeah, no, it's absolutely both. Like Alex was fantastic. He made a lot of saves that there are some keepers in this league that wouldn't be able to make them. And I think he kept us in a number of games, even with the disappointing results we had at times. Yeah, I think Alex was tremendous, and bring him back for 2022 is a good thing.
Earl, who was your favorite?
So I'm gonna pretend like Seth did not talk at all. My favorite had to be Mondo. Either Mondo or Serge, one of the two, Mondo or Sergio.
Both of those are insane choices to me.
Because without Bees coming in, those were our two. We didn't have anyone else putting goals in, and we didn't have anyone putting goals in, to be honest. But without Bees coming in, those were the two carrying the weight.
I remember doing that in high school when the opposing team would do their starting lineup. We would hand out newspapers and just be disinterested. Mondo was one of the most infuriating players to me last year. He was in and out of the lineup, I know, because of El Salvador, which was fantastic for him. But I don't know what happened the first time he went to El Salvador, because he was playing great before that. And then he went to El Salvador that first time and came back, and it was like he had the weight of the world on his shoulders and just never shook it. And I don't know why.
I have to take my answer back.
Okay, thank you.
I think it has to be JPG.
I knew that was. I thought that was coming. I thought it was coming earlier, but
I think it has to be. Because without him, what the fuck were we talking about last season?
Without him, we would have been talking about wins, is what we would have been talking about.
Without him, we would have probably made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Without him, I would have a whole lot less gray hairs and probably a less hate for Alex. And without him, I'd probably just be a happier person.
Wow, that's poor JPG. He doesn't deserve this slander. He's gone.
He is poor because he's not working now for a fucking reason.
Anyways, okay, we're gonna move on from that. I think I agree with Seth. The obvious answer is probably Weehan. So I'm gonna do that thing where when there's always an obvious answer, that person never actually gets talked about because it's so obvious. And I'm actually gonna say Austin Yearwood. He showed flashes in year one until he got hurt.
He flashed.
And then in year two, he was good, but he wasn't like fantastic. And this year he just was, I still think he was, best 11 caliber, and just continued to impress match after match after match. He logged so many minutes. I had it up earlier and then I closed the tab on accident, so I'm not going to pull it back up. But I believe him and Ryden were right there for minutes played on the back line, and he was consistently great. And he deserves every ounce of credit that he gets. And we talked this offseason about him. We were told that he was under contract to begin with, but then it took a while for them to announce. And I can't help but think that maybe he was asking for a little bit more money with the way he played. And if that was the case, then we needed to throw as much money as possible to keep him, because he was a stalwart back there, and I expect him and Ryden and Swahi and Tete to keep it locked down and just be a very, very solid unit back there again. So he's who I picked, and that was the only one that I had that I didn't text you earlier, just to drop on you guys. Figured, especially now with it being an hour and a half or so, that we could wrap this thing up and we get to watch. Well, we get a starting lineup at least, and we'll maybe know who scores some goals if we score some goals on Saturday. So that it's not quite what we want yet. We can't actually watch anything, but maybe we'll have some highlights, and I'm really just curious to see the starting 11. See if it's going to actually be like some of the big names out there, or if it's going to be more of the guys that kind of are trying to fight for a starting spot, or what it's going to be. So,
you're probably gonna get 45 minutes out of everybody.
Oh yeah, I just want to see the lineup though.
Yeah.
I think if you show me a lineup, even if it's just the list form,
Yeah.
we can kind of use our imagination to see what the formation might have been, and just try to whiteboard the whole thing out again, and use any clues that we can get to figure out what's going to happen. I'm really genuinely curious to see what lineup we put out, like when things matter, obviously. So I will be overthinking way too much on Saturday when it comes to who's playing and who scores and everything like that. So I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are too. And
So when you say overthinking, do you mean like Megamind overthinking, or the villain off of Turbo Man overthinking?
off of what?
Off of Turbo Man.
What the hell is Turbo Man?
Wait. Really?
Do you know what he's talking about, Seth?
I believe is referring to Turbo Man from the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Jingle All the Way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he's looking for something. But yeah, so before we get out of here, there were two other notes that we forgot to mention earlier in the show. The first being congratulations to Saalih Muhammad, who announced his retirement a few days ago. We're not entirely sure what he's going to be doing yet, but Saalih spent first 2 seasons here with New Mexico United, went back to Oakland for a half of last season, obviously came back on loan for the second half of the year. Just all around nice guy. We talked to him after he got re-signed last year, and just super down to earth, talked about, loving it out here. And congratulations to him. He had a good career while he was out there playing, and can't wait to see what Saalih gets up to next. And then the other note that we wanted to pass along, in case you haven't seen it yet, it was announced this past weekend that the New York Red Bulls had hired on former New Mexico United head coach Troy Lesane to their assistant coach position. So congratulations to Troy in his new endeavor as he makes the move on up to MLS with their Red Bulls.
Yeah, that's for the Troy subject anyways. That's a huge news or a huge move for him. I think it's going to be exciting for him, and I'm not going to put it up, Earl. I can see it there, and I can see that you want me to add it to the stream, and I'm not going to. So Seth can if he wants, but I'm not going to. We knew he was going to land somewhere, either as an assistant or as a head coach, and I think this is probably one of the best moves that he could have made, other than maybe taking on like Charleston's head coaching job or something like that. And I'm super excited for him. And now we got 2 ex-United players in the New York area, or ex-United members. I don't know what you would call them, but Cody's over there, and now Troy's over there, and I'm sure those two have met up for coffee or something. And I'm happy for Troy and his family, and I think it's probably a big move for his wife and their kid to have that stability of a Red Bulls organization that is worldwide, essentially. So good for him. And with Saalih, I'm excited for him. I'm excited for what he's going to do, but I'm really sad because he's such a young and talented player that I would love to see him just continue on the pitch for somebody, even if it wasn't for us. So, but all the luck to him for whatever he decides to do next, and we know he's going to succeed at it because that's just the kind of guy that Saalih is. So, yeah, two bits of news that are exciting yet sad at the same time. And Earl is asleep.
Nope, I was checking my email.
Earl, did you dye your beard? It looks dark as hell compared to your hair.
No, I just have a lot of white hairs now.
Fair.
Is that just for men?
Yeah.
It's like 50 Shades of Grey. I mean,
Oh God. No.
All right.
I think we're done.
That's gonna, yeah,
I think
that's
we're
gonna
done.
do it for us tonight. Jacob, get us out of here.
Yeah, guys. It's nice just the three of us. I like having guests, but it doesn't leave as much time for our banter between the three of us. And can't wait to be here in 2 weeks with a couple preseason matches under the belt, and we'll make wild assumptions off of that, I'm sure. And I can't wait for that. It's crazy that the season's here. Like the off season is so short with the holidays in there. The holidays just make it go by so fast, and so we're already back to live soccer on Saturday, like I said, and before you know it, we'll be back at the lab. Hopefully, the three of us, if we can figure that nightmare of a situation out, and yeah, and we'll be back a couple weeks, 9:00. We'll have a list of things that we're going to talk about. Maybe probably not any new signings or returning people, maybe a couple things here and there, but we'll find something to talk about for sure, and we can't wait. We hope everybody joins us in the chat like they did. Harry, Aaron Raider, thank you guys. Tito, thank you for sharing the link on the New Mexico United Nation page and the Curse page. Really appreciate it. Appreciate all that you guys do, and yeah, just love you guys and be safe out there. We'll be back in a couple weeks, and until then, Somos Unidos.